The benefits of manifestation are creating abundance, a sense of fulfillment, spiritual connectedness, and wellness. But I want to just talk about a few of the dark sides that most people won't experience, but just so that you can be aware of reasons why sometimes things don't work or don't manifest the way that you wanted. So, a list of a few things which can be the dark sides are vague intentions, or making intentions without limits, or stating intentions too infrequently. There's toxic positivity and avoiding shadow work. Laziness, just thinking that you can just visualize something you want a few times and you're done, and then you don't need to actually work at anything or take any action. And there's also a cultish kind of outlook or behavior that can be on the manifestation scenes. So I want to take the first one, which is vague intentions without limits. So I've mentioned my childhood elsewhere. I don't want to make a huge deal of it, but it wasn't that good. And at one point I was agoraphobic, unemployed, and I did this major piece of manifestation magic that took 7 months, and I worked on it every day, and then I did all the right things, and it worked, you know, and it basically affected the rest of my life. I've been around the world, I've got a degree, I live abroad. But one of the goals was I wanted to be slim. You know, I wasn't hugely overweight, but I wanted to be a bit slimmer than I was. And I made like a little model of me to go with it. As part of the manifestation practice. And because I did it for so long, 7 months every day working on this, and then I just let it go completely to the universe, I did indeed manifest that. Now I've lost well over maybe 15 kilos from what I was at that point. But the thing is, throughout my life, 2 or 3 times, I've had a serious slimming disease. My weight's gone down to almost nothing in a way that's dangerous. Now I've got a genetic condition also, which affects my muscles. So having a slimming disease is not something you want to go with that. And I've got permanent health issues because I did that. But I've got over that. But another one that I can say is at that time, that original magic I did, one thing I wanted to do was to meet a soulmate. Like a lot of people, I was looking for a partner. And I felt a long way off when at one point I was just agoraphobic and couldn't even open the curtains. But that magic worked. I was on the other side of the world when I met the person I was looking for, basically. But I didn't do any kind of shadow work or anything. I didn't really know what I wanted. But she was Japanese. She had a full life in Japan, and I didn't have any way to actually get there. And we had this long distance relationship for about 8 years. And of course, because I've been through this kind of childhood, then I've got what's called, a tendency to limerence. I tend to really want unavailable partners. Now, nowadays, I've done all the shadow work and I'm over that. But at the time, over these 8 years this was before the internet, so we were sending physical letters and stuff. And it was nice in a way, but deep down, I don't want it. That made me really unhappy. And I hadn't thought about that. I didn't really sit down and define. I just wanted a partner. It didn't occur to me what that would be like. And I really wanted to actually move around the world and be free. I couldn't really have both at that point, or I didn't define what I wanted. So it took a lot more than magic to get over what became basically an obsession, but I've got over that. And I think one way then you can do this, I mean, if you're doing manifestation, maybe you've got some practices like maybe you script every couple of weeks, or maybe you visualize and you're doing whatever. And I think you simply just stating the fact that you're putting limits on things and you want it to be the best for everybody. So I say something like, I neutralize all magic and manifestations, past, present, and future, that keep me or anybody from awakening. And then I leave it to a higher part of myself. Now, maybe if I had said something like that in the first place, maybe I never would have met this person that, I had this 8-year relationship with. But what I really wanted to do was live a minimalist life, go around the world and be free. That's what I want now. It's what I wanted then, but in a way I didn't know. So maybe it would have stopped that happening. But if you focus on the states that you want to feel like that, and put on what you think materially is going to cause those states, feel those states now and then leave it to a higher part. Make that statement of surrender whenever you're manifesting something. And then trust and be present and be in state. And that is a way to avoid that problem. Another one of the potential pitfalls is toxic positivity. Because people mistakenly think that that's required. And in a way, you do need to stay in state and be all positive. But of course, just stop and think. You can't be positive all the time, you know. And I mean, it's supported by this kind of cultish scene as well. If you focus on anything negative, people pull you back. No, you're creating your reality, you know. And it's just, I mean, just stop and think. If you've got a friend that's bereaved, for example, and they're trying to open up and get some kind of, what they want is compassion, and you're trying to be all positive and get their mind off it, and it's just avoidance. It's clearly not a sensible thing to do. And I think another way to look at that is if you look at what's called the Buddhist 7 factors of awakening. So this is basically a teaching that in the mind of an enlightened person, which I think we're trying to be, right? I mean, the mind of a person that's balanced and awake, there's not one thing. There are 7 different things that exist in their mind. There are different states. And the states are mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. Now, this is kind of if you're living in a monastic life and you don't need to pay bills and have a house and all that stuff. But I'm not sure that fully works. I mean, it does work in a way as a layperson, but I've kind of boiled it down as a manifestation practice to have 3 states that I'm in. So one is joy. Now, you don't want joy all the time. That's toxic positivity. If it's joy no matter what, but much of the time you want to be happy at manifestation and gratitude at things that you have and that you have on the inside that are coming. And then the other 2 are compassion and inquiry. So say, for example, your friend's bereaved or you're bereaved and you're missing someone. You can have compassion for the other person or compassion for yourself. Or inquiry is where you look at how exactly am I existing? So I'll give you an example. Say you've got some precious thing and you lose it and you're feeling really bad about it. Now, you don't want to sit and be, insane about this. You want to feel, first of all, you can feel compassion, which widens a feeling. So it's not about yourself. You feel it for other people. So you can imagine people that have lost something much more than you. Imagine someone that's lost a part. Maybe you've lost your watch, but there's somebody else who's, lost their arm. You can take that feeling. You don't need to push the feeling away. There's a sadness, but we all feel sad. Widen it to other people. And then so that's the inquiry part. And of course, the inquiry part is who feels sad? If you look into your mind, you're feeling sad, you've lost something. How are you existing? Where in your mind do you exist? Where do the sensations of sadness exist? On a moment-to-moment basis, that inquiry can lead to insight into yourself. And then what is sadness can also become awakening. It can become either compassion for other people, or you can turn it inwards and it become awakening when you look to exactly how you're experiencing that. So the last potential negative of manifestation is maladaptive daydreaming. Now that can be a bit under the radar because we're supposed to be visualizing and imagining good things. So therefore it's a bit of a thin line between when is that you're going too far and when is it just good practice. And the danger signs are when you find it hard to get things completed because you're daydreaming so much you can't stop, whispering to yourself, rocking backwards and forwards, or gesturing too much. Now, of course, a lot of it's positive, but sometimes you're daydreaming too much about negative outcomes and things that could go wrong, which is rumination, and that's a symptom of depression. So just because you're visualizing doesn't mean that it's good. So how would you treat that if that is an issue? So one thing you can do is you can analyze it. So what exactly do you keep on seeing? If you keep a log of daydreams over a long period of time, then you start to see themes occurring of what you need, the basic feeling. For example, in my own mind, I often recreate fantasies which are based around me being an innocent victim. So say, for example, maybe one of my daydreams is that I'm accused of shoplifting, and I'm exonerated in court by CCTV footage, and I am the innocent victim being proved right. Now that's ridiculous because that's never happened to me. I don't shoplift or anything. But many of my daydreams have that same theme of what I end up feeling, i.e. vindicated. Now, because that goes to my past and everything. Because, I was always innocent and I needed someone to recognize that and nobody did. And I'm just recreating that in daydreams. So then you can re-visualize that. For example, in that daydream, you can stop it halfway through. Instead of feeling all righteous, you change the feeling to compassion. Be compassionate for yourself, but then imagine the person that falsely accused you, for example. Change that so that now I'm feeling compassionate for a person that feels that they made a mistake at work or something. So I'll make another video about daydreams and keeping a log of daydreams. Another thing to do is look for triggers that start these long daydreams. For me, I sometimes on YouTube I watch this program called The World's Strictest Parents, where you get these kids completely out of control, and you get parents, they send them to another country where there's much stricter parenting, and they're being told off and abused. And man, it triggers all this stuff from my childhood. And this simple question where you can do some shadow work on that, but also you can just avoid the triggers, just unsubscribe, just say on YouTube, not interested in this, and stop watching it. Because when I stop and realize how unhappy, I'm entertained and engrossed and utterly unhappy, then you can be real about it. But anyway, this is just a few ideas about some of the pitfalls of manifestation. But as I say, keep it real, because usually people don't have these problems on a deep level. As long as we all need to do a bit of shadow work, be mindful of the pitfalls, but keep it real, because it is in fact a miracle. It can be everything that you hope it is, and it is, a way of life. So keep it real, keep watching, and keep thinking for yourself, because I'm not always right. Thanks for watching.